Everyone is talking like Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira are going to win at the White House. I think we're overlooking what happens if they don't. This isn't just another fight card. It's the biggest stage the UFC has ever put together. Both Pereira and Topuria are carrying the entire event on their shoulders. You probably already think both Topuria and Pereira are sure to win. And honestly, I don't blame you. Ilia Topuria looks invincible right now. Alex Pereira feels like destiny. On paper, these fights seem easy to predict. I warn you, they're not nearly as cut and dry as they appear. But there lies the problem. Every unbeatable fighter eventually runs into the wrong matchup, and destiny only exists until the cage door closes. The deeper I dug into these fights, the more I realized there are cracks in both of these seemingly perfect stories. Cracks that could completely change how UFC Freedom Fights 250 is remembered. Let's start with Ilia Topuria. Welcome to Loft 18. We are here and they show fights every week. They are so kind to host us today, and we get to film our American-themed episode here. I'm excited because this place shows the fights every weekend, and really cool golf. They've got really good art on the wall and stuff. It's just a really cool place to hang out with your friends and watch the fights. If you're in Baton Rouge, hit me up. We'll come here. We'll watch fights, and I'll buy you a burger. Again, Ilia Topuria seems like this should be a walkover for him. Justin Gaethje is the exact kind of fighter that he beats. Ilia, walks people on the punches. He has the superior boxing. The wrestling is better. But I've got this sneaky suspicion that Justin Gaethje is going to ask some questions that Topuria has not been asked before. This fight is outside. It's going to be 96 degrees. It's going to be humid. They're expecting rain on Sunday. This fight is going to be there's going to have a lot more X factors in this fight than what you would imagine. This isn't as cut and dry as it seems to be. And that, I feel like, plays into the hands of Justin Gaethje. You see, Gaethje is this wild man. We know how Justin Gaethje fights. We've watched Justin Gaethje for nearly a decade now, and we know what Topuria brings to the table. You see, we've got the wild man, danger wild man here, and then you've got the crisp, the clean, the pretty technician. And while the consensus is always bet on the boxer in the rematch, the first fight is always up for grabs. Think about it now. It's going to be hot. Justin Gaethje proved that, against Paddy Pimblett, he's still that dog. He can still take a fight deep into the cards and be very dangerous as the fight goes on. And make no mistake about it. I know you already think, he's comparing Paddy Pimblett to Ilia Topuria. Not by any means. Actually, they're complete opposite fighters on both how they fight and their ability to fight. So, yeah, I'm not saying Pimblett is, Ilia here, but what I'm saying is what we saw from Justin Gaethje was a hint of the old Justin Gaethje. It was the one that, Michael Johnson, the first Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez fight. That Justin Gaethje is still in there. Now, you put this at the White House in front of the president that Gaethje loves so much. There's going to be a certain incentive for him to show up and put on a very exciting, very fun fight. And I think he's going to try and do that. Now, that could play either good or bad for him, right? You got the Ilia Topuria that's going to, you want to fight wild? Perfect. That's fine by me. Bam, bam, knock you out. But we really haven't seen Topuria fight somebody really wild like that. As a matter of fact, we saw Jai Herbert knock him down with a high kick. I'm not saying Justin Gaethje is going to knock him down with a high kick, but what I am saying is there are X factors there that hasn't been asked of Ilia Topuria yet. Like, what happens if it's sloppy and Justin Gaethje's pressing him against the fence, kneeing him and really making his life miserable? What happens? What happens when it's round 4 and Ilia hasn't been able to knock him out and it's 97 degrees or 85? Let's be honest, it's going to be at nighttime. 84 degrees, humidity's at 110%. What happens? These aren't questions we get to ask in MMA very often. These aren't questions that we get to ask of any fighter ever, really, unless it's on a regional scene. But then that's not the elite level of the sport. You see, the sport's an arena sport. They're always indoors. Now, as far as tactics, on top of that indoors, obviously Justin Gaethje is going to want to hit the body. I think he's going to go to the body a lot. A lot of kicks to the body, And that, again, that could play him off in a bad position. That could put him in a knockoutable position, if that's a word, knockoutable, right? But thinking about it, it just makes me wonder what Justin Gaethje can bring to the table besides the grueling pace. And the body work's going to be one thing. If you know y'all are both fighting in this horrible environment, you're going to want to do things that'll make you, better in that environment. So working the body. Another thing he's going to want to do is to slow down and impinge the great footwork Ilia Topuria has. So how do you do that? You kick his legs. Now, if you remember, OGs will remember back in the day, Justin Gaethje had gnarly, mean, aggressive low kicks. Fantastic. One of the best parts of his game. Kind of like Jose Aldo, though, he's moved past that. He doesn't quite kick the legs as much anymore. Like he did against Patty in the first round. He's like, all right, I'm going to kick your legs, and now you can't move quite as well because you're in pain. Do that the whole time against Ilia Topuria. Now, the problem with that, though, is if you go back to what Topuria brings to the table is he's going to try and time that right. As soon as Gaethje's kicking naked, he's going to try and time that right to knock him down. And when you're on one foot and you're kicking, oftentimes you get knocked down. That's just the name of the game. He's not going to be able to just throw these naked. It's going to have to be at the end of combinations. It's going to have to be at range and maybe push kick to the body, throw something new in there. Now, Trevor Whitman's a great coach. I don't think he has enough control over Justin Gaethje to make this happen. I think Gaethje's going to get in there and make it a brawl and do what he thinks is best. And I think that's okay. He can do that. He can do that, and it could work in his favor. And while I do think there is a possibility for an upset against Ilia Topuria, I don't know what percentage to put it at. I don't put it above 50%. I don't put it probably above 40%. You look at maybe a 35% chance Justin Gaethje wins this, but it's going to have to be what we talked about, accentuating the outdoor nature of this fight, the abilities that Justin Gaethje has, and understanding what Topuria brings to the table. And if he can do that, he can make this a miserable, horrible fight for him. And if we can see Topuria drug into the deep waters in front of the dignitaries of the world, are you ready for that stage? Justin Gaethje's Homer Simpson enough to not care that the president is there. He's going to be cool. He's met the president already, though. Patty has too. Ilia has too, but I don't know how this fight's going to play out. And the outdoors factor of this is a big thing for me. I think he's going to struggle. Ilia, that is going to struggle. But we could also see Gaethje struggle and start to gas out quicker, too. So he's also fighting outside, too. So it's up in the air for me. I don't know how to put this fight. I think it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time watching this. But at the same time, you can't tell me that this is a shoo-in for Ilia Topuria. There's too many factors out there that we don't know about. Now, co-main event is very interesting to me as well. You've got Alex Pereira and Ciryl Gane. That's your other title fight on this card. Neither of these guys are American, but we're at the White House. Let's do the biggest fights we can. And I've been crying for a while now since Alex Pereira called the move up to heavyweight. I don't quite remember, maybe UFC 301? Since he called the move up to heavyweight, the only fight I was interested in for Alex Pereira at heavyweight was Ciryl Gane. We're finally getting it, boys. We are finally getting the fight I've been calling for. You long-term watchers have been, watching this and remembering. You remember, use your mind. I've been calling for this. I manifested this. Me. You're the only reason you're watching. I'm the only reason you're watching this fight. Straight up. This fight is interesting to me because I have this feeling that he'll be knocked, he'll be taken down against any other heavyweights, but I don't see Ciryl Gane taking him down or having the ability to take him down. You see, Alex Pereira has a really good game plan when it comes to wrestlers, and eventually that game plan fails when it comes to size. See, he grabs a collar tie, he arm drags, and he pulls. So he pulls you across and gets off the fence. That's how he does it. You shoot in the middle, you have a lot more success. So this fight is much more interesting to me. But it's the size that matters. You see, much like Francis Ngannou, Ciryl Gane is a freak of nature. A heavyweight that knows no size, He's ready to cut weight to make 265. But he's not fat. He's jacked. He's huge. Ciryl Gane is a massive human being. And his fight style's interesting. But when I watch kickboxers, because this is going to be a kickboxing fight, when I watch kickboxers that have beat Alex Pereira in the past, the Artem Vakitovs and stuff, it's not the movement that hurts him. You see, Artem Vakitov walked him down with his guard high and answered all the questions that Alex Pereira had. This is his last kickboxing fight. Go watch it. Pereira struggles when there's no options presented to him that he can work with. The exact same thing happened against the Magomed and Ankalaev fight. Now that's a little bit different of a dynamic because it's a southpaw, but that does matter in this Ciryl Gane fight because Gane actually, he switches stances too. But the size of Ciryl Gane and the movement, because he's incredibly fast, can give him trouble. And it gave him trouble against Israel Adesanya. Now, granted, Israel Adesanya is not 265 cutting weight. No, not at all. But we did see the trickery of Adesanya give Pereira problems in that first fight. Now, the second fight, Alex Pereira had him figured out and was really beating him up before he got knocked out. Let's be fair. And we know that he's not invincible. Pereira's been hurt before. Ciryl Gane's size and movement combinations gives me pause for concern for what Alex Pereira can do. He's giant. And he moves like a cat. He is impressive, to say the least, right? We look at this fight and we wonder, how can Alex Pereira slow Gane down? Because he is definitely going to be the more nimble, not the faster, but the more nimble fighter. He's going to be dodging in and out, bouncing, that very, very karate style type fight that Ciryl Gane brings to the table. It's going to cause Alex problems, and he's going to get jabbed a lot. And if he can't deal with that, if he can't deal with the pace that Ciryl Gane brings to the table, that's where we have problems. That's where we have issues. You see, I like Alex Pereira a lot. I've enjoyed his rise. I doubted his rise in the beginning. It's documented. I've doubted it. But now it's just kind of like, oh, I'm watching something great. And he is going to do something great. Granted, this is the interim title, and I have a feeling they're going to strip Tom Aspinall this week at some point, if they haven't already by the time this comes out. He's attempting to do something great, and I am pulling for him. But watching this, getting ready for this, I have to ask, how does he do it? And the obvious answer is very clear. It makes a lot of sense what he's going to do. It's going to be the low kicks early on. Ciryl Gane's horrible with low kicks. Tai Tuivasa tore him up with him. Every time Ciryl Gane's had a hard fight, it's been the low kicks that have done it for him. And every time he succeeds, he doesn't get kicked in the legs. So Alex Pereira is going to, first and foremost, have to attack the legs. Now, this isn't quite like the Topuria example we went over earlier, where I'm like, but he might get caught off the right, because the stance is a lot less square than what Topuria brings. Ciryl Gane's got that wide karate stance, right? So he's bouncing in and out, ready to throw. I don't know. Pereira's going to land those kicks. The question is, do they matter? Do they work? And I think they will. He doesn't throw kicks with power. The whole hip turning over thing that Joe Rogan loves to talk about, it's predicated on landing instead of, power. Don't think Jose Aldo just slamming kicks into your knee and it hurting. No, this is literally him slamming, tapping. It's accumulation of damage. And once he can impinge the movement of Ciryl Gane and force him into southpaw, kick again. And you can expect Alex Pereira to kick the outside of the leg consistently. You can expect him to kick the lead leg with his left leg, and then in southpaw with his right leg. He doesn't like kicking on the inside. When he does, he gets taken down. Think back to the Jan Blachowicz fight. Who was it? His second, Bruno Ferreira? Same thing. He kicked the inside of the leg and got taken down off of it. Happens every time. Ciryl Gane's not going to do that, but Pereira's built that habit around. So he's already looking for the low kick. For Gane, I think it's just make this physical. See, Pereira hasn't had time to put all this weight on properly. He really hasn't, and that's going to harm him. That's going to hurt him, definitely. So making sure that Alex Pereira carries his weight and carries his weight at the same time is going to be paramount. And if we can see Ciryl Gane push this fight against the fence, which I think he might be able to, I don't know. The karate stance kind of bodes away from that. But if he can, Pereira's heavyweight, the outdoors nature of this fight, we talked about this before, the outdoor nature of this fight, can really, really harm Alex Pereira. So no, I'm not picking Alex Pereira to lose this fight. No, I'm not picking Ilia Topuria to lose their fight. But I am saying, watch out for the intangibles that we don't normally take into account. The stage bigger than anything we've ever seen. The amount of insanity. The outdoors nature of it. Is it going to rain? All of that matters more than anything else here. Topuria is probably going to get it done. So will Alex. But don't be surprised if they don't. You heard it here first. Don't be surprised if they don't. I'm so excited. This is the best card we've had since probably the Sphere. It's going to be a blast.